All right, what's going on? Welcome to Insight with Irv. You got to reinvent yourself or die. Yes, this is going to be a morbid podcast. Not really, but check this out. One of the reasons why you want to continually reinvent yourself is because, just like the title says, you will die. At least the person that you want to be is not going to have a fighting chance. The business that you plan on building is not going to have a fighting chance. You owe it to your family. You owe it to the people that are looking up to you. And if that sounds like it's a lot of pressure, being great and being good at what you do does come with a lot of pressure. And that's okay because you are getting built for this. Your character is getting built up. So let's jump right into why I want you to think about this inversely of why people don't want to reinvent themselves. I can give you a bunch of reasons of why you should reinvent yourself, but I want you to think of it from the inverse angle, which is the angle that I want to take today on the episode. So you can kind of work it backwards. And that's we are attached to the compliments. So we are attached to the compliments that we get when we do something and people are expecting us to constantly be that person that they can maybe put down. Or people are constantly expecting that we can be that person that they can put their finger on, and we end up becoming uber predictable. We are addicted to the compliments that we get on social media when we post something, and we end up getting safe inside of our shell of the type of content that you want to post, or the type of people that you want to hang around with, or even the type of responses that you give. Let's say certain comments or certain critiques or even certain responses from people, whether online or offline, if you're just at dinner with family or friends, we get addicted to having that feedback because we end up becoming, again, predictable to people. And a lot of times when you're reinventing yourself, it's not just uncomfortable to you, but it's also uncomfortable to the people that are used to seeing you from a certain lens. So I want you to think about it kind of like when a rocket is kind of coming out of space, or I'm sorry, going into space and they have to break orbit. One of the biggest things that they have to break isn't going out of, let's say, the globe of where we're at now, whether you are a flat earther or you believe in a round globe. This isn't necessarily a topic around that, but it's around when they're breaking orbit, they have to break the gravitational pull that's happening. And so I don't know what stratosphere that happens in, or I'm not a science guy, but what I can say is that natural gravitational pull is that last piece that they need to go through in order to kind of go off into orbit, right? Go off into space. And it's going to be the same way that happens, the same way that how I want you to view it in your own life, where yes, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable at first when I'm reinventing myself. And yes, it's going to be a little uneasy, and I don't know how everyone's going to take this, and flat out, it shouldn't matter how other people are going to take it. At least if you know it's going to be a net positive. Some people are going to leave and some people are going to stay. That's just the nature of the game. The second reason why people don't like to reinvent themselves is that predictability is no longer serving them, right? And so by serving them, I mean the people that are expecting certain things out of you, that predictability, they start to say, well, you've changed. And they almost want to guilt trip you into becoming a better version of yourself. And they almost want to guilt trip you into trying or why you're trying new things, and they try to talk you out of trying new things. They want to talk you out of why you're studying the way that you're studying. They want to talk you out of why you're working as hard as you're working. They want to talk you out of the kind of money that you're making. Oh, you're a big shot now. I love that one. They say, oh, you're a big shot now. But I wasn't a big shot when you were doing better than me. That's always interesting how that works, is you're a big shot to someone as long as you're not doing better than them. But up to that point, it doesn't matter to them. As long as you're not doing better than me, we're fine. But the minute they start doing a little bit better than me, hey, don't forget about the little people. Hey, don't forget about us. Don't forget, I was there with you when you were insert what they're going to tell you to guilt trip you. Hey, I was there with you when you didn't have $1 to your name. Hey, I was there with you when I was letting you borrow my car to get to work. Hey, I was there with you when you were sleeping on my couch. Hey, I was there with you when you needed help taking care of your kids. Like whatever it is, yes, I appreciate that you were helping me out. Yes, I appreciate that you looked out for me. But I'm not going to be held hostage to the favors that you did for me just because I've decided to grow past that. Again, that was for a season. All of us have needed people. We're always going to need people. But just because you need someone, maybe in a certain season, they're looking out for you, it's a community thing, right? It takes a village to raise kids. Sometimes it takes a village to build a business. Just because you need someone in a season doesn't necessarily mean that you need to become their slave. And a lot of people, when you end up outgrowing them, they'll start bringing up their past or your past about how they were there for you. And that's cool. I'm here to reciprocate it. But I also don't want to use that as a crutch of, if you're not willing to grow and if you're not willing to reinvent yourself, that's not serving us. And so I don't care about predictability. I want to continue to grow and scale, not just my business, but also my life, my marriage. And I am going to go into some uncharted territory that I don't have full information on, that I don't know if this is going to work or not. But I'll tell you what, that's what life is about. Being able to take the bull by its horns and go into the next season. And again, not knowing if it's going to work out, not having all the evidence, but at least saying, you know what, I'm at least going to try this thing because I think I was put on this planet to do great things. And I think I was put on this planet to continually reinvent myself and evolve into the creation that God called me to be. The last reason why people don't evolve, or the last reason why people don't reinvent themselves, is they're just flat out attached to the outcome. This one right here is probably number one at the top of the list of why people don't reinvent themselves. And you're just attached to the outcome. You don't want to try new things because the old thing that you've constantly been working on gets you X result. But after a while, that thing that you were once crazy about, that you kept getting over and over and over, no longer excites you like it used to. The reason why it no longer excites you like it used to is because you've grown past that level. So this is an interesting way of what I believe God calling you into bigger challenges and God calling you to face bigger giants. Because I think that once you outgrow a level, once you outgrow a phase, it's no longer going to require you to sharpen the skill sets that are either God-given or ones that you need to learn and ones that you need to pick up along the way. And so if you are addicted or attached to the outcome, you have to completely remove yourself from, if this works or if I do this, this better work, rather than let me at least try this. Don't let someone guilt trip you into just wanting to try something, wanting to try a new industry, wanting to try being friends with maybe someone, or at least having a conversation with someone that doesn't view the world the way that you do. If maybe you grew up with both your parents in your household, try talking to someone who was adopted that doesn't even know who their parents are. Go check out how they view the world. If you're someone and maybe you grew up in a certain class where your parents made X amount of money, go talk to someone who would dream of making that in a lifetime. Or go talk to someone who's made what you've made in a year, they've made that in a week. Go get those different viewpoints on how these people view the world, because oftentimes when we're building out our social groups or when we are going out there and we're meeting new people, we only want to talk to people who are just like us. But you'll learn far more about the world, and you'll learn far more even about yourself of talking to someone who maybe has a completely different stance on things that you're super passionate about. It'll challenge the way that you see things, and it'll even stretch your belief system if you let it. So don't go into it so combative. Have an open mind to that. And again, don't be so attached to the outcome, because sometimes the outcome that you think is one that should have happened is one that maybe God was protecting you from altogether to begin with. So if you found value in this content, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Don't forget, man, we don't run any sponsorships on here. So if you have been enjoying what you've been listening to, all that we ask is that you leave us a 5-star review, because it does help this content reach a larger audience. Once again, I appreciate you sitting down and having this conversation with me. Until next time, everyone, I will see you in the next episode.